Welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Justin Rosette. Our guest today is Cal State Fullerton's Provost, Dr. Amir Dabirian. For 41 years, Dr. Dabirian has served this campus as a student, faculty member, staff, vice president of information technology, and now provost, dedicating his entire career to the growth and success of Cal State Fullerton and its students. Under his leadership, the university has seen critical innovation and growth, from launching the Center for Equitable Digital Access and the Cal State Fullerton Makerspace, to reaching a record enrollment of over 45,000 students. Now here to share his educational and leadership journey with us is Provost Amir Dabirian. Dr. Dabirian, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
Great, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And so, in doing some research, the thing that jumped off the page the most to me is the 41 years that you've been here at Cal State Fullerton. That's almost twice the amount of time that I've been alive. So since 1985, you've been here, but you mentioned it dates back before that when you were a high school student. So talk about your journey and when you first stepped onto the campus of Cal State Fullerton.
I started coming to Cal State Fullerton in 1980. I was a Troy High School student right across the campus. I decided to take a course in engineering. So I started my journey in fall of 1980 when I was 15 years old. So I loved coming to the campus, and I took my first course. It was engineering drafting. And after that, the following year, I got admitted to the university. I fell in love with the university, being a Troy High School student, with all the amenities and everything about the university. And I started my journey from there.
So you talked about coming here as a high school student and you fell in love with the campus. What was it sort of that made you fall in love with the campus? And also, what was it that made you want to stay here on this campus for those 41 years?
It was the students, faculty, and staff. I fell in love how caring the university was, how embracing the university was, and I saw myself excelling in all aspects when I was first stepping in the university.
And so I wanted to ask, a little fun fact that I heard is the first email address that was created on campus is amir@fullerton.edu, named, of course, after you. Talk a little bit about that and your early career here in IT.
Okay. I was part of the computer center. I was hired into the computer center. My first job was a system administrator for the Unix systems, and at those days, the kind of a mainframe systems at that time. And throughout those years, we had email accounts, but we didn't really have internet email accounts. Yeah. So in 1989, we established internet. And we established internet, we have to create the first account that connects us to the rest of the world. And the first account was created was amir@fullerton.edu. Yeah. So it has a historical moment for me personally, and keeping that account a historical moment for the university.
You mentioned 1989, creating the internet here on the campus when things were kind of first established. Now, fast forward to 2026, technology has grown in so many ways, and so has a little thing called artificial intelligence, right, or AI. And so, as someone who's worked in technology and in IT here on the campus, I want to ask, what is your view on AI and kind of how fast it's grown, and are you a supporter of it? In what ways have you worked with it in your role?
When you're looking at, I'm going to come back to AI in a second. When you're looking at the technology infrastructure, there is a technology, what I call it, technology advances. And we have done a lot of technology advances since early 1980s up to now. We had the PC era. If you remember, there was a PC boom. Everybody had to have personal computers. Yeah. Then it came out the internet boom, right? The networking internet boom came in 2000s. And the next revolution that I see is artificial intelligence. For the first time, we see a technology that's going to change not just the technology for us, but the world. It will enable us to really take the world into a different level. Artificial intelligence, I thought 20 or 30 years ago, was in science fiction. Now I can see it is blooming right in front of our eyes. Yeah. It's the fastest pace of technology revolution ever seen in my last 4 decades. And I think the AIs can do a lot of positive things for the nation moving forward.
Yeah. And so with AI, as you mentioned, a lot of positive things that can come out of it. There are also a lot of scares when it comes to careers in technology. A lot of students and people are worried kind of, how is this going to affect us? Is AI going to take over our jobs? Are they going to replace us kind of thing? So I want to ask you, for students that are going into IT and just technology in general, what would you have to say to them about how they kind of interact with AI in their jobs?
AI will elevate us. I think what I see with AI, it would be helping us to really elevate ourselves to different levels. We can use AI for a lot of positive things. So things that we used to do for takes hours and days to do, with the AI assistant, we can do them in minutes and seconds. And it also enables us for things that we can do that humans used to be able to do. The machines now can do it a lot faster and a lot better and with more intelligence. As every technology revolution, I think it elevates humanities and the way we have. Look at the smartphone technologies. That was another revolution that we had. Elevate humanities. Nobody looks at it, smartphones, that is part of our, what I call our sixth sense, right? Yeah. We can live without anything. We can live without wallet. We can't live without our phone, right? So technology evolutions really elevate the humanities and the way we use it more effectively in our community and for our lives.
And as you talk about your career here in technology, I want to zoom out a little bit to just generally all the different roles you've been in. One of the things that qualities you have to have is just being a great leader, right? And so how would you say for you, how have you been a leader and how have you tried to just lead day in and day out as a student to as your time as provost?
Leadership is really important. Understanding the people is really a key to a leadership. A leader is the one that helps the institution and your staff and your community to excel. So I look at a servant leadership that be able to, how do I serve everyone to be able to elevate the institution? So I will look at leadership from a different angle. I look at as a top-down, instead of a top-down leadership, is a bottom-up leadership. I'm here to make sure I serve everyone to make the institution better.
And so you talk about the service kind of being a bottom-up sort of ladder. How would you think that kind of your upbringing and your background being Iranian, how has that kind of shaped you and the leader that you are today?
My background as Iranian is all about family, about caring. How do we care with each other? And I think that helped me in the leadership because caring for people is really a key. Kindness and caring and be able to enable people to be better is one of the assets that I use my heritage to be able to implement my leadership.
So it kind of sounds like you prioritize person-to-person relationship first before kind of the work part comes into it.
The relationship is the most important of our lives, and it plays a vital role in the leadership.
So now taking that from leadership to just Cal State Fullerton in general, there's been a lot of change on the campus, as you mentioned, over the last 41 years. What are some of the biggest challenges that Cal State Fullerton has been through in your time, whether it be as a student, as a provost in technology, and what was your kind of role in helping to maneuver through those challenges?
The challenges, I'm going to talk about two challenges.
Okay.
One, in early 1990s, when we had huge budget crisis that came in, that almost get into layoff modes of our staff and faculty, and our enrollment went down, and it caused a lot of disruption in early 90s. And it was, I was part of the campus community that really helped move the institution forward with very low budget and be able to, what I said, I would try to do 3 or 4 jobs at the same time to make sure our students they get what they need. That was early 90s. It was a budget. Yeah. But the budget always been an evolving thing, as you know, in always every institution.
Yeah.
That was the first crisis, I would say, in early 1990s we had. The main crisis that come to us was COVID. Yeah. We have to, the COVID, what we say, the most catastrophic, I would say, issues that we had on our campus, that we had to pivot from in-person to online over the weekend. And what I helped is being a technology campus, being ready for COVID really helped us. We were one of the first campuses that went from in-person to online over the weekend. And if we didn't have the technology infrastructures, if we did not have the laptop we needed, we will not be there. And we will not be able to do this. And actually, our division, information technology, in 3 months before COVID hit us, we were ordering equipment for our students. Yeah. We knew this was coming. So we do a lot of preparedness for our students to get us there.
So you mentioned being prepared for COVID kind of 3 months ahead of time. I remember I was in high school during that time, and even my professors were saying it wasn't going to be that serious. So we'll be back at school next week. And it's almost 6 years ago, almost to the date that things kind of shut down. So going from COVID times to, I guess, now, how would you say, on top of what you already mentioned, how has Cal State Fullerton kind of built its way back up from going from the pandemic back to now?
We were one of the campuses going back actually from online back to the in-person. We felt the in-person is really key to our success.
Yeah.
So we went backward, immediately. But we still kept all the advantages of COVID that brought us. Be able to do more hybrid classes, be able to do online classes in a way, synchronous classes. All of those helped shape Cal State Fullerton to elevate itself. And we knew in technology got embedded almost to everything we had.
So one of the programs that you helped launch on campus is CETA, the Center for Equitable Digital Access, allowing students to get laptops, iPads. I personally got an iPad from CETA, so I really appreciate the program. Why was equality the lens that you wanted to bring, and equity the lens you wanted to bring to the technology initiative on campus?
I always look at equity. From a day I walked in this campus, one of my foundation was equity. How do we make sure that haves and have-nots treat the same? And having most of our students coming from a first-generation background, a lot of our students, more than 30% of our students on financial aid, depending on year to year, could be more or less. We have students that could be able to afford technology or they can't afford technology. So my goal was, how do we make sure we close the gap in digital divide? And digital divide from home all the way to university. We want to make sure that everybody have what they need in order to achieve the greatness when they become a student. So CETA was the area that was really as one of the campus signature program we did to make sure that every students have what they need to succeed.
Yeah. So a big thing that keeps coming up when I'm hearing when you talk is students, making sure that students have their needs and that students is like a core need of your initiative. So as provost, same thing with as your other roles as VP of IT, as a professor, the students' needs come first. So in what ways to you, or I want to ask, what does student success mean to you and how important is that? Where does that rank in importance of your jobs as provost?
My number one always been a student success. For past 41 years, understanding the students, understanding what their need is, understand what success means to students was a key foundation for me moving forward. Working with the students to understanding them, when you're looking at generation to generation of the students, success can change from generation to generations. And we wanted to make sure those are embedded in what we do our students. My favorite day of the year is commencement. When I see the students walk in the stage and make sure that they get their degrees. But they getting degrees is not enough. I want them to be success in their careers. I want success in their life, success in their communities, and have success, a holistic success when they graduate from this university.
So being a student here at Cal State Fullerton and having graduated here yourself, was it that commencement day for you that kind of made you want to have give that same joy to other students now?
Absolutely, absolutely. I walked at a stage, I was on cloud nine. I really was, you feel that you finally accomplished what you set to go to. You did it. I was a first generations. My dad did not have a university degree, and I was first in my family to have it. And to have that, it gave me such a sense of pride. And I wanted to make sure that every single person that I come to will be able to have that.
And you mentioned being a first-generation college student. What advice would you give to the other first-generation college students that are considering coming to college, maybe not? What advice would you give to them based off of your educational background?
One of the best presents you're going to give yourself to get a college degree. Ability for you to get educated and be able to finish, to demonstrate your escalation, you're escalating yourself, elevating yourself different level. They can take anything away from you. They can't take your college degree away from you. So that's really a key. You do the college degree for yourself. You're educating yourself in a way that really helps you with the rest of your life.
We talked about the many ways that higher education and college have changed in the last 41 years here since you've been here. How do you see that continuing to change, like in the next 10 to 15 years within technology, but just in general for college students?
There's a lot of changes that coming in the 41 years that I've seen. How the DEI was embedded into the universities, how technology embedded to universities, how everything changed with respect to humanities and equity and embedded into university? How do we prepare students not to be for their first job, but be able to get them to a second job and third job? How do we prepare students for leadership? How do we prepare students for becoming managers? How do we prepare a student to be a great individual in their community? How do we prepare the students how to excel their communities? Because you change the life of one person, can you change the life of entire community around them? How do we be able to be those students become role model for other students to be able to excel in their lives? So that's what I see the university evolving throughout the years. It's not just about getting into careers, how to change lives from your career all the way to your communities and your legacy as an individual in the.
I want to ask sort of an overall career question. As you mentioned, since 1980, you've been, since 15 years old, a high school student at Troy down the street, coming to Cal State Fullerton. If you could sit down with your 15-year-old self that was coming to here and kind of, I kind of like this campus, what would the conversation be like? What would you say? And what would that 15-year-old Amir have to say to you today?
Embrace everything you learn from university. Attend the clubs more. I did attend clubs. I was involved in a campus. I was on I didn't live on a campus, but I live across the campus. But I was on campus more time. Cherish your moment in the university. It's one of the best time you can have in your life. It's you can think freely. Your mind is open. Observe everything you can, and really sponge all the knowledge you can from every single faculty member. You're here to base your foundation on your future. And I want him to be able to sponge and be able to take everything in from all aspects of university, the community, the co-curricular activities. You can go study abroad. I didn't get to go to a study abroad myself. I would have gone to a study abroad. I would have involved in every aspect of the university life. I think that what makes you a great individual for now and the future.
Yeah. I'm sure 15-year-old Amir would be very proud of you and where you are today. And before we get to the last question, I wanted to ask, all the things you've accomplished as a student, as a provost, as VP of Tech, all the different things, the research you've done in your career, you talked about putting others first. But I guess since you're stepping down as provost, personally to you, what does it mean to have done all of that and to have done it here at Cal State Fullerton?
It means a lot. And personally, everything I've done, I want you to know that it wasn't me. When I went to school, it was me. But when I went to start my career as a faculty and staff, it was the Fullerton community. Fullerton way is how people collaborate, work for a common cause, which is our student success. Everything we do, everything I done as a provost, VP of technology, it wasn't me. It was a collective of people that helped us to get there. I want to make sure that everybody needs to be, the success of this is not me, it's the university. It's what we have built together for past 41 years to make the brand of the Fullerton, to escalate and elevate the brand of Fullerton, that all of our students' success being counted for.
And so you think for the future of the campus, whether it be the next provost, all the students that come in, the best way to move forward is to be selfless and not put ourselves forward, but think about the better of the school first.
Absolutely. University thinking, student thinking, ability for us to look at the institution and look at holistically and be able to really make sure that we expand what success means for our students. Success doesn't mean just to graduate. Success means to create a better individuals for the community and better individual for themselves to succeed in all aspects of life. So we want to build a foundation for them to be able to excel into their next life and next future.
And so now for my last question, after 41 years of being dedicated to this campus, as we mentioned, all the different roles, what does the next chapter look like for you?
I'm going back to the faculty. I'm actually going back to the College of Business, to the Department of Marketing. I'm going to be teaching into our faculty early retirement program, which is called FERP. I'm starting this fall. So for the day I'm stepping off from the provost, I'm going to be actually working on developing course curriculum, and AI is part of my life now because I see AI changing and transforming the future of the higher ed and business and everything go along it. So I want to make sure that I'm I'm leading something called AI Lab in a College of Business. And I'll be working on there to be able to create curriculums and really help the students to excel in artificial intelligence. Next semester, I'm looking at the AI literacy course. So I'm looking at an experimental course in a College of Business for AI literacy that will be available to students. I will have seminars in AI for all students and faculty staff. So my role is how do we make sure that using this new technology, artificial intelligence, in a positive way, both in our higher educations and also in the community.
So stepping down as provost, but you'll still be available on campus for students to, take your classes and come talk to you and things like that.
Yes, I'm going to continue serving in different ways.
Yeah.
Serving, and I love this new way because I be closer to students. When you're provost, you are close to the student, but you're still sitting at the administration.
Yeah.
But as a faculty member, I be very close to the students. I can get to work with the students on one-on-one basis and be able to serve on a different ways for us as a university.
Well, we're all looking forward to still having you here on campus, and thank you so much for
Thank you very much.
today.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Thanks for having me.
We thank Dr. Dabirian again for joining us today, and we are wishing him the best on his well-deserved retirement as provost. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you so much to our special guest, Dr. Amir Dabirian, for his 41 years of service and his continued service to this campus and its students. I'm your host, Justin Rosette. Thank you for watching.